I thought collapsing at work would be the most terrifying moment of my life, but I was wrong. The real fear didn't come when I hit the cold floor or when my coworkers rushed around me in panic. It came later, in the hospital, when the doctors dialed my parents and I waited for them to walk through the doors. Hours passed. I never saw them. Instead, the one person who showed up was the last I expected, and that night changed everything about how I saw family. It started as an ordinary morning. I had been pushing myself too hard, long hours, skipped meals, barely sleeping. On that particular day, my chest felt tight, but I ignored it. Deadlines didn't wait for comfort. I remember standing by my desk, finishing a report, when the edges of my vision blurred. My knees buckled. Before I could call out, everything went black. The next thing I heard was muffled voices, coworkers shouting, someone saying, "Call 911." I drifted in and out of consciousness as they tried to keep me awake. The ambulance ride was a blur of beeping machines and urgent commands. I kept thinking, am I dying? But another thought hurt more, will anyone even care if I don't make it? When I opened my eyes again, fluorescent lights blinded me. A nurse hovered over me, adjusting wires stuck to my chest. My throat was dry, but I managed to whisper, "Did someone call my family?" She nodded. "Yes, we reached your parents. They're aware." Those words gave me comfort at first. I imagined my mom rushing in, holding my hand, my dad standing stiff but worried by the door. I stared at the entrance, expecting them to appear at any second. Minutes turned to hours. No one came. Doctors explained I had collapsed from severe exhaustion mixed with dehydration and low blood sugar. Nothing life-threatening if treated, but still serious. I tried to stay calm, telling myself, maybe traffic delayed them. Maybe they're sorting things out before arriving. But as the clock ticked and visiting hours thinned, the pit in my stomach grew heavier. Every sound of footsteps in the hall made my head snap up. Every time the door creaked, my heart jumped only to sink when it was just another nurse. By evening, my hands trembled, not from weakness but from disappointment. How could they know I had collapsed and not be here? Weren't parents supposed to drop everything when their child was in a hospital bed? The staff began exchanging concerned looks. One doctor even asked, "Are you sure your parents are coming?" I forced a smile I didn't feel. "They'll come. They always do." But in truth, they didn't. It wasn't the first time my parents had let me down. Growing up, they prioritized work, image, and obligations over emotional connection. Birthdays, recitals, even graduations often passed with excuses. I always told myself it was fine, that maybe one day they'd change. But lying in that sterile hospital room, staring at the empty doorway, I realized some patterns never break. I had nearly given up hope when the door finally opened again. My heart leapt, but it wasn't my parents. It was my sister. She walked in breathless, hair messy, still wearing her college hoodie. "I came as fast as I could," she said, eyes wide with worry. I blinked at her, stunned. We hadn't spoken much in months, busy with our own lives. Yet here she was, clutching my hand as if she'd never let go. Tears blurred my vision. She stayed by my side through the night, feeding me water, talking to the doctors, even holding my phone so I could text coworkers. Every time I asked why she was here instead of mom and dad, her lips tightened. Finally, she whispered, "They told me they couldn't make it. Said they were busy." The word busy cut deeper than any needle. But as I looked at my sister, I realized something important. Maybe I didn't need them. Maybe the family who truly cared was already sitting beside me. That night, as machines beeped softly around us, my sister and I talked. Memories resurfaced, some painful, some sweet. We laughed about sneaking snacks past bedtime, whispering under blankets so our parents wouldn't scold us. But darker memories followed. Like when I was sick with the flu at 8 years old, and it was my sister who wiped my forehead while our parents worked late. Or when she stood up for me in high school, shielding me from bullies, even though she got in trouble herself. I had always known she was strong, but lying there, I realized she had been my real protector all along. She had done the job of both a sister and a parent, without ever demanding recognition. Looking into her tired but determined eyes, I saw the truth. She wasn't just here because she had to be. She was here because she loved me, enough to show up when no one else did. Over the next few days, my strength slowly returned. My sister never left, even when she could have. She brought me snacks, joked about the hospital food, and kept my spirits from sinking. Nurses began calling her my guardian, and honestly, that's what she was. When discharge day came, I still hadn't heard a word from my parents. No visits, no calls, not even a text asking if I was okay. That silence hurt more than the collapse itself. But instead of breaking me, it opened my eyes. I used to think family was defined by titles, mother, father, daughter, son. But family is really about who shows up, who cares enough to stand beside you in your weakest moment. For me, that person was my sister. Walking out of the hospital with her arm around me, I felt both grief and gratitude. Grief for the parents I wished I had. Gratitude for the sister who proved I wasn't alone. That night at the hospital taught me a lesson I'll never forget. Love isn't about obligation, it's about choice. My parents chose not to come. My sister chose to. And in that choice, I discovered who my real family was. If you've ever felt abandoned by the people who were supposed to care for you, remember this: you are not defined by who leaves. You are defined by who stays. Hold on to those who stand by you, because they're the ones who truly matter.